Hello, and welcome back to my channel. So one of the things that I think really confuses people, but also something that people are very much interested in, is learning how to track their menstrual cycle, learning how to track ovulation, and learning how to do all of this tracking naturally with natural metrics. And so today I want to share one of the workshops that lives inside my Mama Bear Fertility Reboot Rejuvenation program. And it's all about basal body temperature and understanding how to track your cycle through temperatures. This is not some sort of like mysticism or super complicated labyrinth. It's actually a very simple, very uncomplicated way to start to understand the cues that your cycle is trying to give you, and also serving as a really good diagnostic as to what is going on with your cycle, if your hormones are triggering at the right time. And so today I wanted to share this workshop with you so that you can gain a deeper understanding of how to track your menstrual cycle and ovulation naturally. I hope that you enjoy. Hello, and welcome to the Mastering Fertility Tracking, your guide to basal body temperature taking. This is a very important metric to understand if you want to know how to track your cycle naturally. There are many devices that will help you do this, but knowing the why behind why we're doing it and understanding what mechanisms are at play mean that you can understand your body better. And in this process of fertility or infertility or reproductive technology, the more knowledge you have and the more awareness you have and the better relationship you have with your body, the better. So, why basal body temperature, also known as BBT? So, understanding your body's natural rhythm is empowering in and of itself because you are becoming one and becoming back home to yourself. And I think that is something that should be celebrated. Like I said, there are devices that help us track our cycle. There are many things that we can use that can help facilitate this. But being able to tune into those small little shifts that your body is making means that you and your body are now in sync. And basal body temperature tracking is a valuable tool in the journey of coming home to yourself. Whether you are doing that for fertility, whether it is simply to just get to know yourself, whether it's you want to come off the pill, either way, this is an empowering habit to have, and it's also a valuable tool. So we're going to delve into the intricacies of this method, how to measure it accurately, how to interpret your charts, how to identify your fertile window, and all of this to harness and enhance your fertility awareness. You're taking your power back. So understanding BBT or basal body temperature, this simply refers to your body's temperature at rest, your base body temperature. And it's typically measured upon waking in the morning. Now, it's going to change throughout your menstrual cycle due to hormonal fluctuation. And this is a good thing because this is what we're tracking. We're tracking to see when a certain shift happens because after ovulation there is a notable rise in your basal body temperature, and so that is how you know you've ovulated. Now again, you can use something like an aura ring, which is taking your temperature consistently. There's other things similar to aura, but that's the one that I know. You can use something like a pearly, an ava bracelet. These all take your basal body temperature in some way or another. But if you don't want to invest in something that is, over $100, plus you also got to subscribe and like all these different things, then all you need to get is a reliable basal body temperature thermometer. And you want it to have a really high degree of accuracy. So you want it to go to like 2 decimal places for Celsius and 1 decimal place for Fahrenheit, just because the shifts in temperature are very small. And so you want to be able to go to that decimal place so that you can make sure you're getting a really accurate read. So it's going to look like this. This is the one I clipped from Amazon. It is the one I have. I have it in purple. So how to measure your basal body temperature. So you want to make sure that you are prepared and ready to be consistent in doing this. Taking your basal body temperature is a true commitment because you have to measure at the same time every morning. And this is before any activity, any movement. This is before you get up to go to the bathroom, before you grab your phone, before you do that first thing that you do in the morning. Now you're replacing that first thing with taking your temperature. And so the technique is simple. You place a thermometer under your tongue. You can do it under your armpit, but the most accurate read is actually if you put it in between your lips down there. That is the most accurate reading that you'll probably get, but also under your arm is quite good too. That's where I do mine. And you want to do it under the same arm at the same time. And you need to aim for consistency with the measurement conditions because this is going to really affect your temperatures. Something that you'll notice is that if you have like a boozy night before, your temperature will be different and will sort of like look like it's out of pattern because it is. Because your temperature can be shifted by so many small little things. And so you want to use the same thermometer. You want to do it consistently in the same spot, consistently at the same time every morning. The conditions have to be the same because you want to make sure that your base is the same. So when it comes to interpreting the data, you want to record your daily basal body temperature readings on a chart. So you can literally print out a chart. You can go to Etsy, you can go to Pinterest. There will be BBT charts on there for sure. And you can put your temperature in, and then you'll start to notice a curve or a pattern. You can also use fertility tracking apps. I like Fertility Friend because they don't sell your data. And in this day and age, we want to make sure we're protecting our data, just period, especially our reproductive data. Now, what you want to look for are temperature shifts that are going to typically indicate ovulation. So when you are pre-ovulatory, so after your period before you ovulate, your temperatures are low, on the lower side. But then once you ovulate, then your temperatures start to pitch on the higher side. So your temperatures are elevated. In fact, when you are pregnant, your temperatures consistently go up. Now, the difference being when you are not pregnant, your temperatures will go up post ovulatory. However, then they'll go down, they'll plummet. And that usually is this, your period will come like the next day or the day after your temperatures kind of plummet once more. So confirmation of ovulation is a rise of at least zero point 0.2 degrees Celsius or 0.4 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 consecutive days. This is going to confirm ovulation. And this is a rise of the zero point 0.2 or 0.4. So you have to, again, have a really good thermometer or a really good, app that you trust that is tracking these things. And for 3 consecutive days, it has to be up and sustained temperature rise. That is how you know you ovulated. Now, using something like Mira will test more hormones, more hormonally, but something like the Aura Ring or the Ava bracelet, that is doing your temperature, but it's just doing it without you having to like wake up in the morning at the same time and, do it under your arm and be consistent. Like you don't have to do that if you have one of those devices. So why are doing this is to be able to identify the fertile window. The fertile window encompasses the days leading up to and including ovulation when conception is most likely. So you want to combine BBT tracking with other fertility signs like cervical mucus, changes in your cervical mucus, and even like, OPKs, ovulation predictor kits, because all of this is just going to help with the diagnostic. Now, I will say this. If it is going to make you crazy, doing all the things, tracking all the things, don't track everything. Do your temperatures, put them into an app that you trust, and Bob's your uncle, call it a day. And, as you're making other lifestyle changes and other changes for your fertility, as far as diet, we'll start to see an improvement in your temperatures. You just will. But if you're doing BBT and cervical mucus and OPKs and you're using the Mira and it's like you're starting to drive yourself crazy, I am an advocate of pulling back. Do one of these things. And the easiest thing, in my opinion, is basal body temperature tracking. And then what you want to do is time your intercourse for that fertile window. But tracking your cycle is very frustrating. It is such a frustrating endeavor if you have not done the things to sort of bring regulation to your cycle. I always say to people, let's make sure that we've regulated the cycle so that as we are tracking, we're actually tracking something that is trackable. Because if your period is super irregular and it's 35 days and then it's 21 days and then it's 47 days, that is going to be incredibly hard to track. And it might sort of demoralize you a little bit. So instead, take a couple of months to really just get your habits together to start regulating your cycle and then start tracking. It's likely to be an easier pursuit and it's likely not to burn you out because it's just like all over the place. But the reason that we do this is so that we can identify the fertile window. For most people, it's about 5 or 6 days that you can get pregnant. But you will know this because you will know when you ovulate because you're using BBT. Now, one thing that is important to remember that I always say, especially as far as consistency is concerned, you have to do this consistently every day for 3 months. You can maybe miss a day a cycle, like 3 days out of those 3 months, because that is how it's going to pick up the pattern. If you are missing days here and days there, it's hard to build a graph that way. And so you have to commit to being consistent. If you don't want to be consistent with having to get up and do it at the same time every morning and la la la, then you are a perfect candidate for some sort of wearable tech that is going to do it for you if you're really serious about tracking. But consistency is key. So, understanding what your fluctuations mean. So, if you are seeing wide swings in your temperature, it could be a hormonal influence. So, estrogen drops right before ovulation. And then that's when progesterone will pick up, but not before there being like a brief dip in your basal body temperature. So, it'll seem like it's going up, it'll go down, and then it'll go up. And that is just the pre ovulatory nadir. Now, a dear she is. Now, post ovulation, so given after that brief dip of like maybe a day or 2 days where it's kind of lower, it will go up because progesterone is starting to rise, leading to increased basal body temperature. This is why progesterone is so important because it is what keeps your temperatures rising in those early weeks of pregnancy. This is also why estrogen matters because we want it out of the way, not bullying your progesterone post ovulation and leading to progesterone issues. Right? Right. And so variability also matters. Minor fluctuations in your basal body temperature are completely normal. They are. And it can be influenced by like you were stressed that day, you were sick that day, you didn't sleep really well that day. Maybe you did go out last night and have a few cocktails. That will absolutely change your temperatures. So that is something to keep in mind. But that's why if you, no matter how you track, if you are tracking with an app and wearable tech, use the notes section to your advantage so that, if there is a fluctuation in your graph, you know what it was from. It's like, February 2nd, it's like went out the night before, temperature was a little bit high the next day. So it's like at least you understand what's happening. So whether you were tracking like on your own, like very analog vibes, which is more my style, take advantage of the notes because that will help you understand what is making your temperatures rise, what is making your temperatures drop, what could be a factor in that. Getting sick is one of the things that will absolutely affect your temperature. So again, keep that in mind. So, some practical tips for you to stay consistent, because as I said, unless you are committed to doing this, don't do it. Don't stress yourself out. Don't get all the kit. Don't get the printouts. Don't get the wearable tech. I mean, actually, that's how you actually do stay consistent. But like, if you are going to do this, you have to do it. So you want to establish a morning routine that is going to ensure consistency. Because like I said, if you get up and go to the bathroom and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't take my temperature, it's too late. You can't get it that morning. Your basal body temperature, you're no longer at your base. So what I like to do is my thermometer is right under my head, and it's like usually in the morning I slide my hand across my under my pillow to the side table to grab my phone. I put the thermometer in that zone where I would slide my hand. So before I get to my phone, and you know what? No shame. There's no shame in my game. I look at my phone first thing. But as I'm sliding my hand to grab the phone, the temperature or the thermometer is there. So that's how I maintain consistency. Also, you can set an alarm if you are someone who has the luxury of sleeping in quite late. Set an alarm so that you do it at the same time. And whether you get up, do it, and then go back to sleep, I mean, that's your business. But if you set an alarm to remind yourself to take it at the same time each morning, that's a little bit before you are naturally going to wake up and everything is in place so that you can just grab it easily. That will also work really well. And then immediately record it. I have had mornings where I've done the alarm, I get up, I do my temperature, and then I fall back asleep and I forgot to record it. So just immediately record it. Like write it down, put it in the app. This is going to prevent you from forgetting or any inaccuracies. This is something that requires like it to be precise. That is why we get a thermometer that has the 2 decimal points. That is why we invest in the things that are going to get us this diagnostic because you have to record it accurately or else like what's the point? So I think that you enhance your fertility when you understand your basal body temperature. When you start to understand and see the small shifts in your ovulatory function from taking medication, from being sick, from having a bad night's sleep, from eating out the night before. When you see all of that, that's very empowering. It's not meant to scare you or harm you or shame you or any of that. It's just meant to give you more knowledge to work with. It helps you to understand your fertility signs, know your cycle better, and it empowers you to make better decisions about your family planning, whatever that looks like for you. And it also can be really good as a tool if you are using assisted reproductive technology, working with an endocrinologist, working with a reproductive endocrinologist. Like if you are working in these clinical spaces, having this information in this diagnostic helps them too because they can understand what's going on from some really good diagnostics of like real time data. What's happening with your temps? What's happening with your ovulation as a result of that? Because some people think they're ovulating and they're not. Your body just keeps trying and trying and trying. And you know what will catch that? Basal body temperature. So that is the end of this workshop. I hope that you feel very well empowered and like you know what to do. It's honestly so simple. You just take your temperature every single morning at the same time and record it. Do that for 3 months. And then, if there is a place to put it into a graph, you will start to see a trend. And then once you get to that point, what you do is you start to track and see if other symptoms line up with what these temperatures are telling you. If it is telling you that you are in your fertile window and you're going to ovulate from day 12 until, or not ovulate, but be in your fertile window from day 12 of your cycle until day 16 or 17, and then start to feel like, do I feel any middle smirch pain, which is like ovulation activity in your like uterus area. It's one side of your abdomen, just a little bit like, I feel a pang of something. Because then that is going to be like confirmation. They're going to confirm one another. And then also when you wipe, is there good cervical mucus there? Does it look kind of like egg whites? That's what you want it to look like. If that all happens within that window of what your temperatures are telling you, it's very good to guess that that is your ovulation and that is your fertile window. And so it's really, really simple to do. It just requires that you commit to doing it. So I hope that you feel really empowered and like you know what to do here. Because like I said, the power is in your hands. You are ultimately so engaged in this by watching this workshop. You've already said, like, I'm so engaged in this. And that will allow you to actually take the actions to step forward and do it. But like I said, if you decide to do this, you got to do it.